Hello, this is Mike Lee, and I'm going to introduce Life of Pi book today. The lower you are, the higher your mind will want to soar. This is a famous quote from the novel Life of Pi, written by a Canadian novelist, Jan Marteau. Life of Pi is known for a very unique person. Pi, the main character who tells the magical story of a young Indian who finds himself shipwrecked at the lost at the sea in a large lifeboat with a 450-pound Bengal tiger. Before I read this book, I thought it would be such a nice opportunity for me to experience the book that is largely centered around the religious beliefs. Before I start introducing the book, I would like to tell a little bit about the author of this book, Jan Marteau. He was born in June 25, 1963, and he is known for his casual and lyrical writing style. He is also the author of The High Mountains of Portugal, Petrus and Virgil, etc. The reason why he wrote this book is that he wanted the readers to learn the concept of faith. Therefore, this was the motivation of him writing the best book of adventure fiction. First, I'm going to talk about the background of the book. Pisimolita Patel, who wants to be called as Pi, was born in Pondicherry, India. In India, he becomes really spiritual and devout follower in many different religions, such as Islam, Christianity, and Hinduism. He even believes different gods at the same time. In conclusion, India had become a place for Pi to become a religious person. On the way of immigrating to Canada, the ship gets wrecked and he gets shipwrecked in the middle of Pacific Ocean. And at the end of the book, he finds a mysterious island filled with meerkats. Second, let me talk about the summary of the book. The main character, Pisimolita Patel, was being made fun of his name, Pisan, because it sounds like pissing in English. Therefore, he hated it and decides to change his names. His plan was this. At the beginning of the school, when it's time for self-introduction time comes, he would tell his name as Pi, writing down 3.14. He thought that giving a strong impact to students would be such a good opportunity for his classmates to make fun of his name as Pisan. And it worked. Since then, he is calling himself Pi. After a while, he finds the church in his village. He meets a priest called Martin, and he got fascinated by religion. However, he thought it'd be okay to believe in different gods at the same time, unlike India's historical background. Therefore, he does many religious rituals to various gods since he believes in numerous religions. One day, he hears a shocking news about the Pondicherry Zoo, that Pi's father Oz, supported by government, was closed due to a government's new policy. Therefore, his parents decided to move to Canada after selling few animals. After that, Pi, his parents, and his older brother Ravi got on a cargo ship on the way to Canada. Few days later, when the ship was in the middle of Pacific Ocean, the thunderstorm hits the ship. Pi got excited to see what was going on outside the bed. So he went to the deck, but when he realized on the situation, it was too late. Other sailors tried to pull him in the lifeboat, and he could not even find his family. A small boy could not do anything against nature and had to see the ship sinking with his own eyes. When he woke up, he was in the middle of Pacific Ocean with some animals: a zebra with a broken leg, an orangutan, a hyena, and a Bengal tiger, Richard Parker. However, the hyena kills the zebra and the orangutan, and hyena also gets killed by Richard Parker. Therefore, Pi is literally remained in the boundless sea with a beast. He tries to deal with the problem of food and drinks. Since he finds tons of biscuits and water on the lifeboat, it didn't matter. But for Richard Parker, it was different. Since he was carnivorous, he had to eat meat. Therefore, Pi tries to train Richard Parker using meat. He faces many difficulties, but tries to survive and relies on Richard Parker in many different situations. When the food and water ran out, Pi and Richard Parker found a mysterious island. It was very weird because the island was filled with meerkats and it was floating on the ocean. The island itself was a huge tree and with edible roots and plenty of fresh waters. So Pi thought that it was perfect environment to live. When it was late at night, he climbed up to the tree and made his bed. But the odd thing happened. All of the meerkats were also climbing the tree up, Pi thinking nothing of it and fell asleep. When he woke up, he was shocked. Under the tree, at the river, there were many carcasses of different creatures. Pi got really shocked and opened the fruit which was on the tree, and he found the human teeth. He found that the island was carnivorous and ate other castaways' carcass. After that, he escaped from the island with Richard Parker. After a long trip, his lifeboat reached somewhere in the Mexican shore. Pi was completely exhausted, so he lied on the beach. However, Richard Parker just left Pi and disappeared to the jungle without any behaviors of goodbye. Few hours later, he was found by other people. He started to weep like a child because of resentment towards Richard Parker. After he got rescued, he was immediately sent to the nearest hospital. He told that all these stories to Japanese insurance company employees. However, they did not believe in his stories. Therefore, Pi tells them the truth and the story ends. I am going to talk about the truth later on. Third, I'm going to introduce the characters briefly. For main characters, there are Pi, Richard Parker, and the author. Pi is the main character of the book. He is eager, outgoing, and excitable. Richard Parker is about 415-pound Bengal tiger who travels with Pi. He also is the biggest reliance of Pi on the lifeboat. The author is the person who came to Pi's house in the present to write a book. The formation of the book is used to reverse chronology, that the book moves between the past and the present. For minor characters, there are Pi's family members, including mom, dad, and his older brother, Ravi. And there are also some animals on the lifeboat as well. Fourth, I'm going to talk about the analysis of the book. Life of Pi is deeply connected with the religions. Since the beginning of the book, Pi struggled with 3 religions that he wanted to believe in. Thanks to his religious beliefs, he was able to stay hopeful and survived. As you could see in the part where Pi meets thunderstorm on the ocean, he prays and shouts to God he believes in. I think religion is the principal factor that Pi could eventually survive without losing hope, as well as Richard Parker. Now, I'm going to tell the truth that Pi told to insurance employees. He got on a lifeboat with 3 other people: his mother, a childless sailor whose leg was broken, and the cook. They survived by relying on together and cooperating each other. But when the food and the water ran out, the cook suggested cutting down the sailor's broken leg, or it could be infected. Unfortunately, the sailor died, and the cook started to use sailor's flesh as a bait, and ate some of them. Pi and his mom strongly refused to eat the fish, but eventually ate some. One day, when Pi missed catching the turtle, the cook got frustrated and slapped on Pi's face. Pi's mom got really mad and resisted, but she got killed by the cook. Pi, who saw her mother's body ripped into pieces, went out of control and killed the chef and ate his flesh. So he literally did cannibalism. Knowing the first and the second story together, there are many common parts. To tell the conclusion first, the first story is a fake one that Pi made up to keep peace in his mind. The hyena is in the first story, which killed the zebra and orangutan, is the chef who killed Pi's mother and the Chinese sailor. The zebra is the sailor, and the orangutan is Pi's mother, and Richard Parker is Pi himself. Pi figuratively put many small details in his small story that he made up. And also, the shape of the island he finds in the first story looks like a light-down human, and that island was carnivorous. This is a metaphor that Pi ate human to survive. Lastly, I'm going to compare the book and the movie. The biggest advantage of the book is that there are so many details and foreshadows, and readers can feel the plot twist more dramatically. In contrast, the movie is more focused on graphic many details. For instance, movies doesn't deal with the Pi's religious conflict specifically, so it was pretty disappointing for me. For me, the book was the book was first experience of reading such long time and detailed book. To tell my evaluation for the book and what I have learned from the book. Since Life of Pi is a story of perseverance and a story of not giving up, even in the harshest of conditions, I thought that I should always have positivity and keep strong desires just like Pi did in the story. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation.